Rev up your engines!
Well, here's a bit of more modern technology. Honda is now selling a Legend sedan, only in Japan, that has level 3 autonomy. They can lease it. You can't buy it. You can lease it because they're testing it out in Japan. Japanese are smart. Test it out there where there's less people before you sell it to the United States where the big market is. This is the first production vehicle in the world with level 3 autonomous system. Honda Legend can pilot itself even in congested traffic without constant monitoring by the occupant. Now, they're having a limited edition of 100 of them, and they're trying it out there. And they say that they're not bringing it to the United States yet. They're trying it out in Japan. It's a system called Honda Elite. Now, it's not fully autonomous. It's level 3. Now, way back in 2017, Audi said they're going to have level 3 in their A8, but recently they said, well, we're nixing that deal. It's a bit too complicated. So the Audis, even though they claim they're going to do it in 2017, they still haven't done it yet, but Honda has. And they're trying out 100 of them in Japan. They claim that the system can drive on the highway, even change lanes, and pass on its own, all without the driver doing anything. They even have a thing called traffic jam that you activate it when it's crowded. You put that on, it goes to a higher level. Now, as I said, they're not selling, they're leasing them. The price was going to be $102,000, so they're not giving these things away. Kudos to Honda. Test it out in Japan first, get all the bugs out of it, then bring it to the United States. As Acura found out, it might be quite some time, if ever, that they actually bring it to the United States, but at least they're testing it out in Japan. Here we go with old Elon Musk and his promises again. He signals there's going to be big updates for his full self-driving on his electric car. He said that in April, major update to their full self-driving could be put out on a subscription basis for people who own electric Teslas. Now, they launched a trial list 5 months ago, and they let a small amount of Tesla owners activate and use it. It has a warning. And the warning says, and I quote, "This system could do the worst thing at the worst time." Let's see. Old Elon, wasn't it one of his SpaceXs that crashed again? They were all oh, finally, it landed. Success. It landed. 2 of them blew up, right? Then the third one, it landed. What a success. And then, like 30 seconds later, it blew up. If you can't do a rocket ship that's controlled by all kinds of computers and scientists, I'm not holding my breath in a car that can actually drive itself. Those rocket ships are blowing up on a pad. So I wouldn't be trusting one of those systems if I had one. No, I'm not going to buy one. They're overpriced cars, and no way I'm going to spend that kind of money on a car, on a technology that who knows if it's even going to be around years from now and how long those batteries actually going to last. I think people are foolish to spend that kind of money on a car that who knows what the future holds for it. But that's when it comes to these self-driving ones. Like I said, Honda's got one with 100 cars, level 3, that they're testing out in Japan only, and they're only leased cars, so they can watch it. They don't own, nobody owns them except Honda. They're leased, and the guys are trying them out as guinea pigs. I wouldn't want to be a guinea pig for one of these Teslas, not after his rocket ships keep blowing up. Henry Alina says, Scott, I got a 2014 Corolla and have extended crank for a while. I changed the spark plug starter, got a new battery, took it to Toyota. They didn't know. They cleaned the throttle, and then they checked the fuel pump, said they don't know what's wrong. Seems like they're not that interested in figuring it out. You get an extended crank, you tried the obvious thing. Could be a weak battery. Replace the battery, made no difference. So that tells me that generally on those, mass airflow sensor cleaner. I've got a video, make your car run better with a little spray cleaner. Scotty, type that in, watch the YouTube video. Buy the MAF air spray, clean it out. That could easily fix it. Now, if it doesn't, it could be that your fuel injectors are a little bit dirty. Now, if you buy a really good cleaner like BG fuel injector cleaner, pour it in a gas tank, fill up the tank, drive it 300 miles, that can often help. It helps a little, but still not quite right. Then, what you can do is watch my video, how to clean fuel injectors without removal. Now, you can't do it yourself because you need an air compressor and the pressurized system. But a mechanic like myself, I charge like $100 to do that. And I hook it up to the fuel rail and I run the cleaner, and it actually runs 100% cleaner through the fuel injectors, and you don't have to take it off the car. And I've done that to many of them, and then they start right up again. It's not rocket science stuff. I don't know why they don't even bother doing it, but the level of technicians at these places nowadays, they keep paying them less and less, and the quality goes down and down. They just have them sell parts. They're basically parts sellers, most repair shops these days. They want to sell you a bunch of parts, especially at a dealer, because they're selling you the marked up dealer parts. So, of course, they want to sell you stuff. And if you said, I've changed the starter, this and that, didn't fix it, I'm surprised they didn't try to sell you fuel injectors. But you can try to clean them first, like I said. Tinsky says, Scotty, I got a 96 Corolla, standard transmission, 218,000 miles. It jerks slowly when accelerated at slow speeds. Please help. Two things you do. First, you want to make sure the air filter, fuel filter's clean, replace them if they're old. It's so old, it's 96. The fuel injectors probably need cleaning. If they get clogged up a little, you can get phenomenal gas mileage because when they don't spray enough fuel, it runs leaner. Running leaner, you get better gas mileage but less acceleration. Try a little cleaner in a tank. If that doesn't work, watch my video, how to clean fuel injectors without removal, and pay a mechanic like me to run his pressure machine to clean your fuel injectors. I often see that. But from my experience with those things, if you buy a bottle of that BG cleaner, it's a very good cleaner, put it in the gas tank, fill it up, that will often clean those injectors really well and it'll stop doing that. Yasser says, I got a bad transmission. Should I consider buying an automatic transmission from a junkyard? Very good question. A lot of it depends on one thing. What kind of vehicle do you have? Let's say you got a Chrysler. They have horrible automatic transmissions in many of them. You go buy a used, horrible Chrysler automatic transmission that's sitting in a junkyard. Who knows if it's any good? Now, on the other hand, let's say you got a Toyota that's got 400,000 miles and the tranny finally wore out. Hey, they're good transmissions. You find one in a junkyard that's only got like 140,000? Go ahead and put a used one in. There's nothing wrong with that. It's always a gamble, of course. If you got a phenomenally horrendous vehicle, like, say, a Chrysler minivan, that had Caravans had some of the worst automatic transmissions ever built, I would never tell anybody to try to use a used one. It's too much of a gamble. So it all depends on what kind of car you have. If you're willing to gamble, it's always a gamble. If you got a decent vehicle and it's got a lot of miles it wear out, sometimes it's worth it. But like I say, you got a Chrysler or a Fiat or something, I know where I would try a used transmission. The new ones are bad enough. BML 100 says, my son has an 05 Honda Accord. His AC doesn't work. The ECU is not grounded in the AC clutch relay, so the compressor clutch won't go. I'd have to replace the ECU. I want to get a used one, but I see it has to be reprogrammed and so does the immobilizer. Can I do that? No, you really can't. On those, I can't even reprogram the key because I am not a bonded locksmith or a Honda mechanic, and they're the only ones that can access the information that you get. I got a machine that does it, but I can't access the information for the immobilizer key. Forget that. That's all a gigantic hassle. The car runs fine. The only thing it's not doing is grounding the AC clutch. All you gotta do is put a toggle switch on. Hook it up to the AC clutch and run it with a toggle switch. I've done that numerous times. I got a whole video on how to fix your car's AC for 20 bucks. Scotty, watch the video. You buy a switch and a relay and a fuse and some wire, and you can just turn your AC on with a switch. Why mess with your whole car's computer that's gonna cost a fortune? And you're talking about buying a used computer that might have been sitting in a junkyard in the rain for 10 years, and it might not be any good. Who knows the hassle you can get with that? Just hook up a toggle switch and a wire, and you can run it that way. Turn it on when you want it, turn it off when you don't. Very simple technology. You can bypass all this computer crap if you really want to, especially on an older one like an 05. The new ones are harder because some of them have variable displacement compressors, and you can't do it because they've got a bunch of little 5-volt motors that make it go 0% power to 100%. But yours is an 05. It's an old style. It's just got a plain old magnetic clutch. You can run power to it and just do it that way. Simplify it. Don't waste your time with that computer. They're all saying, yeah, it says, Scotty, I want to get a Toyota Highlander to get rid of my Hyundai Elantra. Yeah, that's a smart move. Should I get the 4-cylinder 04 with 108,000 miles or the later V6 with 115,000 miles? Is it true that V6 hauling a heavy Highlander is not much less efficient than a 4-cylinder hauling the same vehicle? You're going to get quite a bit better gas mileage with the 4-cylinder engine if you don't load it up with a bunch of crap and tow stuff. If you're not towing stuff, go ahead and get the 4-cylinder one. But if you're planning on towing things, carrying a lot of weight, get the 6-cylinder engine. They're both excellent engines. They both can last 300, 400, 500,000 miles, but it all depends. If you're not going to tow anything, I wouldn't bother getting a V6. But if you're going to tow stuff, I'd get the V6 because it's better for towing, especially if you're towing a little bit heavier stuff. It's got a lot bigger towing capacity to it. Carol Cash said, Scotty, I love your channel. I'm turning 16 and I'm looking for a new car. What do you think would last the most? A 2020 Hyundai Elantra, 2020 Civic, 2021 Nissan Sentra, or a Mercedes Mercedes AMG A220 Salon. Okay, you want something that's going to last forever, get the Honda Civic. Those are great cars. The sports are fun to drive around. Kids like them. You're 16. It's not like you're getting a granny's car. Don't think about the Hyundai. They fall apart when they get older. And the Sentras are even worse. And the Mercedes, they're all endless money pits as they age. Get the Honda Civic. And anyways, young people like the Civics. You want to soup it up, make it sound a little louder, put one of those little farty mufflers on it, go right ahead. The Hondas can last a really, really long time. Don't even think about the other ones. They're all money pits as they age. The Civic, no. I've seen them with 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 miles on it. You buy a new one, if you don't wrap it around a tree because you are young, it can last 20, 30 years. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.